Hello, welcome back to GOT and my full review on the Honor Magic V3. I'm going to go into a lot of detailed specifics on this phone and cover it from head to toe. And if you want to skip ahead because there's a section you don't care about, such as maybe the photos and the cameras, you can go ahead down in the description below and just skip to the marks section I have down there to make it easier for you to go ahead and browse through the video. Let's get to it. So first thing I want to talk about is the look and feel. As you can tell, I'm really enjoying this thing and I've got the case on it. And what's really nice about this is it feels really great in the hand. The phone actually has the curved edges as these phones used to, say, a year ago, versus the squared off like we get on the new Z Fold and the Pixel, and even on the OnePlus Open, which is squared off around the edges. Now, I have to say, going back to this, I thought I would prefer the squared edge, but I really like this rounded feel. It's a lot softer on the hand. Now, maybe I'm just a softie. Now, to go along with that is this case, which is really nice. It's actually kind of a leathery, soft feel, but it's very grippy. And of course, it comes with this nice, convenient kickstand, which I really do appreciate. You can set up your phone like this, and of course, with the phone open, you can also use the kickstand as well, which is a great, handy feature. I also like to use this when holding the phone up like so. I'll open this up, put my fingers through there. That way it's a nice grip. I'm holding on to it and I don't have to worry about it falling out of my hand because I got a really good grip on it. Now, another thing about the look and feel is the design and button placement. Of course, you have your touch fingerprint power button, and a lot to say, on the side here. And they actually put the volume rocker on the opposite side. So as you can see here, start to open it, there's the volume rocker, and over here is the power button. One of the things I like about it is when using this kickstand, typically when I take a phone out and I set it up on the kickstand and start watching a video, I'll look at it and I'll think, oh no, the volume is too low, and the volume will be right down the bottom, right next to the power button. But on this phone, it's on the opposite end. So I can actually adjust the volume right here without having to pick up my phone and reorganize it and change the volume. That's a really nifty placement for this phone. Now, of course, what I also like about it is the nice placement of the camera is not quite as bulky as you get on the OnePlus Open, which is really big. Let's see, I got a little stand on it. So it's quite a bit smaller. Let's change hands here, and you can see it is quite a bit smaller than the one on the OnePlus Open, which is really nice. And with this case, it really makes it pretty slick looking. This is actually the case on the OnePlus Open. For the OnePlus, I just happen to have a really strong magnetic grip on there. So you can see this case doesn't look as streamlined as the one on the Magic V3. I'm using this phone right now for my notes for this video. Hey, I want to take a quick second and thank you for hanging out here on my full review video on the Honor Magic V3. If you would, please take a quick moment and smash that like button down below. It really does help out the channel. It helps me provide more good content for you. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate you. Let's get back to the video. Now let's go ahead and move on to the screens. Now the screen on this, they're just beautiful. They're just very clear, and I like the screen. The screen almost has kind of a rounded edge towards the end of it here, but you don't see that in the viewing. So it's not a curved display, but it is kind of rounded here instead of flat, even with the frame. And that's probably why they came out with this little protector here that you could put on it. I just don't care for it because I like the feel of just going across the screen and not having that lip from the case. So this has a screen protector on it. It came with it. So I'm good with that for now. In this case, very similar to that of or almost probably exactly like that of the Oppo Find N. It has that hinge protector right there on the side, which gives it a nice clean look and feel around the edge here. And then when you have the phone open, if you're not using the ring, you've got a nice place to grip it here with your fingers. Now, I just chafed Starrett real quick. I was talking about the external screen. So back to the screen. This is a 6.4-inch diagonal screen, which I think is a perfect size. It's got a great feel in my hand. It's very similar to that of the Pixel 9 Pro Fold in size, except that this is a little larger. It looks similar in size on as far as the phone goes. I think you can see this is just a tad bit millimeter taller. And it's a bit wider because it has less borders, where this one's got this extra border here on the side. Now, you don't get that on the OnePlus Open, although OnePlus Open is a 6.31, so there's not a whole lot of difference there. So I really like the size of the Honor Magic V3, meaning the size for the hand and the screen. And then, of course, you got the internal screen, which is a 7.9 9 8-inch screen. You might as well say 8 inches. It's an 8-inch screen. If you look at it compared to the 8-inch Pixel 9 Pro Fold, they are the same size. They're in height, and when you look at them, they are pretty much the same size all around. The biggest difference is the crease. There's not much crease to be seen here. It's a little bit less on the Honor Magic versus this deep dish crease you find on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold or even the Z Fold 6. Not only can you see the crease, but you can really feel it. This one, you can barely feel it. Now, there's one thing I don't like about the internal screen on the Honor Magic V3, and that's this camera placement. I'll show you here. When I got a video playing, and let's go full screen on this, you can see the camera placement is right there. Look at that hole. It just kind of messes up the view of this video with it being right there. Now, yes, you can turn the phone this way and get rid of it so it's down here so you don't see it in the screen. But if you go ahead and go full screen, well, I guess you can go, okay, it's up here at top now. And if you went full screen with your view, yeah, you can see it there. But mainly when you're turned like here, which is your natural way of doing it, you open up the phone, you put out the kickstand, and you set it down like so. And you can see that hole punch is right there, right in the screen. I'd have preferred they'd put it off to the side like everybody else. That way it's not in your standard view when watching a video. But that really is a minor thing. Now let's talk about performance. On this thing, it's just so smooth when you scroll right on through. Of course, it has the 120 hertz refresh rate, so it's really fast. And it has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip in it and 12 gigabytes of RAM. I looked around to try to get 16 gigs, and I just couldn't really find it. It is available apparently, but I couldn't find one. And then you can also dedicate storage space and give yourself an additional 12 gigabytes of RAM. So that means 24 gigabytes of RAM. I'm not sure how that works, but I could tell you it definitely makes a difference. And this thing is fast and smooth. You open up an app and you do anything with it. It's just very quick and responsive. And I'm really enjoying this phone. As you can see here, you go through everything and it's just fast. Now, if you saw there, I was able to scroll through the app drawer, which is really nice, but it doesn't come out that way. It starts out with a different way, and you go here in the home screen style, and you have to choose app drawer to get that. Otherwise, it comes with this standard app drawer or standard setup where you don't have an app drawer and it's all to the side, which I don't like that, and I think most of you don't like that. So one thing you need to know is right away go into the home screen, go into settings and go to home screen style and change this out to the drawer. And once you do that, then you have your app drawer, just like we're used to, where you just scroll up. Now this thing, you've got all kinds of widgets that you can customize this thing with, as you can see here. And the way you get to the widgets is actually pinch the screen and you go to cards right there. And then you have the different cards that you can go ahead and choose. It also has classic widgets you can choose from. So you can just get the widgets that you want on your home screen and set up the way you want. And what I really like about this too is it has widget stacking. So you can see here on this widget here, I can just go ahead and use different views, different widgets, add it to it. I really am enjoying that. And since I have my weather app over there, I go ahead and switch to my calendar. I like having the calendar. And as you can see here, you can take the different app file folders and you can shrink them up or you can enlarge them, which I like to enlarge the ones that I use on a regular basis, which makes it really nice for me because you could actually just choose something like the calculator, for instance. Just click on the calculator app and it opens the calculator directly. You don't have to open up the drawer, but if you have multiple in there, you can see here where they're stacked, you hit that up and it opens up and then you can choose them all from there. So that's a really nice way to do it. Now I have this AI suggestions folder. I still don't know how that's used. I forgot to look that up, but it clearly puts in here one of my most recent used apps, which is really nice because you're not limited down to these three, which are here at the bottom, included with the apps that I like to remain on the bar, which you can see here, and it's the same on the inside. Now, something you could probably see here, you notice I have app pairing, so I can pair apps, which is really nice. Just pair up apps so they open up just like so, side by side, which is a really great feature that you have on these other phones. So now multitasking with this thing is incredible. Okay, you got two apps open. So let's say you want more floating windows. You just go over here, you open this up, and let's say, for example, I want the calculator. Check it out. There's a calculator. The calculator's open, and now it's a floating window, and I can move it anywhere I want. And let's say I need another floating window. Let's go ahead and open up Edge. Now I got Microsoft Edge as a floating window. Let's go ahead and open up another floating window. You can see where I'm going with this. It seems to be unlimited here. Let's go ahead and open up Best Buy. Now Best Buy is a floating window. There you go. And let's go with another one. Let's find something here real quick. Let's just a floating window of a calendar. There's my calendar. Now you see what's happening. They're stacking up here. If you press this, or let's go ahead and shrink this one down first. Now look, all my floating windows are on this one side here. If you press on it, there they all are. And you can click on whichever one you need to look at the time, and it pops right on out there. There's all three. And then you can just shrink them down like that. And then, of course, if you want to close out these windows, you just hit the X and close them out like so. Let's leave the calculator open. And there's my calculator. And again, you can float it around anywhere, and you can resize it and put it anywhere you want. Now that, my friends, is multitasking. Now let's say that you want to replace any of these apps. Well, you can do the same thing here. You open up the sidebar, and you can just take this and replace the app, and it's replaced. You can actually take this and turn this into a floating window as well, just by selecting this line up above, or you can go full screen with it. You have so many different options. You can split screen with it. When you do a split screen with any open app, it goes to the side, and then you could just pick any other app that you want. Let's pick up like Amazon. You can open it up. And then, of course, if you want to make this small, you could do that. Then you can take this one and you can split it and open up something like Chrome. And now you have a split app, and you have your floater down here. So as you can see, you have so many options. And then, of course, you have the three dots in the middle here. So you could do a vertical swap or horizontal split up and down, which is not something you could do on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. And you can also change the size of the window. It's not full range, but it'll go to a 1/3 versus a third. So this is incredible on multitasking. And I know I covered a lot there, and there's so much more. So now let's go ahead and talk about the cameras. Now in this photo comparison, I did test the Honor Magic against the OnePlus Open, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, the Samsung Z Fold 6, and I'll show you some of those, but I'm mostly going to show you the comparison between the Honor and the OnePlus, because that's what most of you wanted to see. So let's get started. So this first photo was taken with the main shooter, and you got an f.17 48 megapixel on the OnePlus and an f.16 50 megapixel on the Honor Magic, making it actually a little bit better main shooter, and it allows more light. Now in this photo, you can see that the Honor Magic V3 displays deeper, richer colors and more contrast. You can see the green in the grass is just popping out, and the blues in the sky is more pronounced, and the graffiti just appears more vibrant, where the OnePlus Open has just a little more natural light and appears slightly muted in color compared to the Honor Magic. And of course, the Honor Magic has a much more dynamic range. Just check out the shadows, see how deeper and rich they are. That's more true to like it was when I was actually recording these. Now, the Honor Magic has 3 settings that you can set for the camera, and this is the authentic setting, which is what it came with out of the box. So supposedly it's going to give you an authentic view of what you're seeing, but it also has another setting where it's natural, so it's a little more muted in color, similar to that of the OnePlus. Vibrant, where it gives a lot more color, and then you have the authentic. Now, most of these pictures, I left it on the authentic view for the Honor Magic, but I will show you towards the end where I did change it to natural just to check out the difference. So we'll just kind of breeze through the rest of these. You can see this is the Pixel 9 Pro Fold up against the Honor Magic. I still think the Honor Magic has more detail. You can see that in the clouds. And then here we are with the Z Fold. The Z Fold's okay, but it's a little brighter. Where did the shadows go? Z Fold just eliminated the shadows. It does okay in the sky, but the foreground detail is just gone. Now here's using the zoom lens on both cameras. You have a 3x zoom on the OnePlus and a 3.5 on the Honor Magic. Again, same thing, deeper, richer colors in the Honor Magic. And I think here it's just going to be personal preference. But you do have a higher megapixel zoom camera on the OnePlus Open. Now this is a sample of the authentic and the natural color on the Honor Magic. And believe it or not, it's a cloudy day and a little darker like you see on the authentic and much more colorful. So I made sure while I was seeing, I checked it out, and it is much more colorful than what you're seeing in the natural. So the authentic is pretty authentic. Now here you can see the OnePlus Open against the Honor Magic, and I used the natural, just try to get that lighter view that you see on the OnePlus, but I still think it came out much better on the Honor Magic. And again, much more color on the Honor Magic. And something I want to point out is you look at the slats on the bridge, it's a little washed out on the OnePlus Open versus the Honor Magic. And again, this could be personal preference because some people like the lighter image. Now, where these two are really different is on the zoom. You actually can see a little bit better on the OnePlus Open. You can almost read the names of the birds where you can't on the Honor Magic. Now, on this image, it looks like the Honor Magic did really kind of overproduce this photo. I don't really care for it. I would have preferred to go with maybe a natural view because I really don't know what happened here. It's really not that dark, especially the dirt. Now, next, I went inside. I wanted to capture what it is in low light. And as you can see here in this low light, I think they both do really well, but you can see how the OnePlus Open pulled out the image in the shadows where the Honor Magic just kind of left it where it was at. But because of that, the image is quite a bit more colorful on the Honor Magic and more realistic because that is a dark corner inside this old water hydro processing center. Now, I did take one quick image outside at night in my home, and as you can see here, the Honor Magic I think does a little bit better. It's a little clearer at night, and I think it's all happens to do with that f.16 allowing more light than the f.17. Now, I got to tell you, the verdict for me as far as photography, I think the Honor Magic really did well and held its own against the OnePlus Open higher spec cameras, and in most cases, I believe it beat it. So I am very pleased with this camera. I think next time I go out and do some shooting, I'm going to stay with the natural setting and see how that does, because sometimes the colors really did get saturated, and you could do that in post if you want to saturate the colors. But it really does well if you want to snap, shoot, and post something real quickly. This is a really good way to go. Now, I know there's some of you out there that want to know, how does this thing work on the different networks? Well, it works really great. And once you figure out how to turn on 5G, it works even better. And I'm going to show you exactly what you got to do. You got to go into settings on this thing, and you go to your mobile network. And then under here, you go to mobile data. And what I had it set on, or it came set on out of the box, is LTE and these other settings next to it. That's where it was set out of the box, and that excludes 5G. So once I figured this out, I went back and just tested it. I clicked that one and went to the NR. The NR is new radio, which includes all 5Gs. So once I switched it to the 5G new radio, this thing is very fast. As a matter of fact, it's faster than all the other phones that I've had using this T-Mobile chip inside this phone. I also did put a Verizon chip in it, and it worked just as well. Although in my area, T-Mobile is more prevalent and faster, so I choose the T-Mobile as my main daily driver SIM. So this works really well. And also, I've had people ask about the Bluetooth. Well, on Bluetooth, I haven't had any issues with it. It works really well. It works well with my Samsung watch, although you can't use all the features that you get when you use a Samsung phone, but it still works for everything that I need. But it just so happens I do carry this as a secondary phone, so I still have my watch linked up to it, so I get all the different uses I want out of my Samsung watch. Now, I do hook up my phone to earbuds. I got a couple different earbuds here that I use, and they all work really good with the phone. And I also hook it up to my car stereo, which is really nice. And on that topic, this is really great now because when I do set it up in my car, I have a wireless phone stand in there, but I could not charge my OnePlus Open with it in there, but this sits right in there and charges well. Matter of fact, I can't even charge my Pixel 9 Pro Fold in there because the Pixel 9 Pro Pro, the magnetic coil is too low and it will not match up and charge on my wireless charger in my phone. This one, it does it perfectly. It sits in there and it charges up the phone while in the car mount, which is really great. Now, I've used with Google Maps, of course, listen to audio while driving. This thing has no issue. It works perfectly as one would expect. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I might have missed. If I did, please ask me down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this phone and what I might have missed that you'd like me to tell you about. I'd be happy to cover it. Now, I've heard people say that they've had delays in messages and things and emails. Haven't had any of those issues. This thing's work flawlessly for me. So where am I at on this phone? What are my thoughts? This is a great all-around phone. It's thin, maybe not quite as thin as the Oppo Find N5, but we're talking really a micro difference in size. But this thing is incredible and does not compromise, I believe, in any way. So I am very pleased with the Honor Magic V3, and I would highly recommend that to anyone, especially those that have the OnePlus Open and want to upgrade now with something this is a great interim until OnePlus comes out with their next model next year. If they came out with the same thing as the Oppo Find N5, I would not buy it because this thing does not compromise like I think they did with the Oppo Find N. But again, that's just my opinion. Now, if you want to know more about this or you want to see my first impressions, check out this video here. Until next time, God bless.